Hi, in today's lesson we're looking at angle pair relationships. Our objectives are to identify vertical angles, linear pairs, complementary and supplementary angles. First vocabulary word is vertical angles. Vertical angles consist of two angles whose sides form two pairs of opposite rays. Vertical angles are congruent. If you have two intersecting lines, then they create vertical angles, and this angle A is congruent to angle B, so the measure of angle A is equal to the measure of angle B. Again, this is because we have two intersecting lines, and we can say that angle A and angle B are vertical angles. The other angles that are congruent because of vertical angles is these two across from each other. Linear pair. A linear pair consists of two adjacent angles whose non-common sides are opposite rays. Linear pairs add to 180 degrees. So a linear pair basically means that you have a straight line and a ray that goes through the line, and then the angles created by the ray that goes through the line add up to 180 degrees. There's another word for that we're going to learn shortly, and that it is supplementary. So in this case you can say that angle 1 and angle 2 are linear pairs and they add up to 180 degrees. Complementary angles. Complementary angles are two angles whose measures have the sum of 90 degrees. This means that I have two angles that add up to 90 degrees. Complement. The sum of the measures of an angle and its complement is 90 degrees. Supplementary angles. Supplementary angles are two angles whose measures have the sum of 180 degrees. Supplement. The sum of the measures of an angle and its supplement is 180 degrees. Example 1, finding angle measures. In this example, we have a flag shown on the right. Angle 1 has a measure of 60 degrees. So I'm going to mark angle 1 over here and say that that has 60 degrees. Find the measure of angle 2 and the measure of angle 3. If we're looking over here, we know that angle 1 and angle 2 are on a straight line cut by another line. And so we know that the measure of angle 1 and angle 2 are a linear pair. So the sum of their measures is 180 degrees. So I know the measure of angle 1 plus the measure of angle 2 is 180 degrees. I know the measure of angle 1, that's 60. So 60 degrees plus the measure of angle 2 is equal to 180 degrees. Solve for the measure of angle 2 by subtracting 60 on both sides. 180 degrees minus 60 degrees gives me the measure of angle 2 is 120 degrees. So I know the measure of angle 2 is 120 degrees. Now I know that the measure of angle 1 and the measure of angle 3 are vertical angles. They're across from each other, so I know they are congruent and have the same measure, which means the measure of angle 3 is equal to the measure of angle 1, which is 60 degrees. Example 2, finding angle measures. Solve for x and y, then find the angle measures. Use the fact that the sum of the measures of the angles that form a linear pair is 180 degrees. If I'm looking at this image over here, I have two variables, the x's and the y's. I could try to solve for this angle over here, saying that these two angles are vertical angles, and I know they're congruent, and set them equal to each other. But the problem with doing angle EDH and angle FDH and setting them equal to each other is that I have an x variable over here and a y variable over here, which makes it really hard to solve. But if I look over here on this line, I have angle EDF and angle EDH on a straight line, so I know that they add up to 180 degrees. I can fill in what I know for angle EDF. I know that EDF is 2x plus 5. I can also fill in what I know for EDH. I know that EDH is 4x minus 5, and I know that the sum of this is going to equal 180 degrees. I'm going to simplify my like terms. Positive 5 plus the negative 5 is 0, so that goes away. 4x plus 2x is 6x, which is equal to 180 degrees. Isolate x by dividing everything by 6, and 180 divided by 6 is 30. So I know that x is 30. I can do the same thing to solve for the y variables. I know that this is a straight line, so I can say that the measure of angle GDF plus the measure of angle GDH is equal to 180 degrees. I know that GDF is 3y plus 5, and I know that GDH is 7y minus 25, which equals 180 degrees. Combine your like terms. 7y plus 3y is 10y. Positive 5 plus a negative 25 is negative 20 is equal to 180 degrees. Add 20 on both sides. You get 10y is equal to 200. Divide by 10 on both sides to get y is equal to 20. So I've solved for x and y, which is our first step. Now I need to find the angle measures. So to find the angle measures, I'm going to take my x value and plug it into the expressions that have x. Take my y values and plug it into the expressions that have y. I'm first going to find the measure of angle EDF, which is 2x plus 5. I know that x is 30, so I'm going to plug it in here. 2 times 30 is 60 plus 5 is 65 degrees. The measure of angle EDF is 65 degrees. Doing the same thing with EDH. It's 4 times 30, which is 120, minus 5 is 115 degrees. Looking at angle GDF, I have 3y plus 5. I know that y is 20, so I'm going to do 3 times 20, which is 60, plus 5, which is 65 degrees. And then for GDH, 7 times 20 is 140, minus 25 gives me 115 degrees. All right, checkpoint number 1 and 2 are yours. For checkpoint problem number 1, the measure of angle 2 is 52 degrees. Find the measures of angle 1, angle 3, and angle 4. For checkpoint problem number 2, solve for x and y, then find the angle measures. So in this problem number 2, you need to find what x is and what y is, and then plug it into the angle expressions to find out what the measure of the angles are. Example number 3, identifying angles. State whether the two angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. I like this little hint on the side to help you remember what is a complementary angle and what is a supplementary. So in this hint it says, in the alphabet, C comes before S. On the number line, 90 comes before 180. So you can associate complementary angles with 90 degrees and supplementary angles with 180 degrees. So now let's take a look at example 3. Here we're supposed to state whether the angles created by the hands of a clock are complementary, supplementary, or neither. Before we do that, we need to know what the angle measure is between each hour in our clock. Well, we know that in a circle has 360 degrees, and this circle is divided evenly into 12 hours. So if I take 360 degrees and divide it by 12, I know that each hour has a degree measurement of 30 degrees. This will help with our calculation. The angle showing 11 has a measure of 30 degrees. The angle showing 2 has a measure of 60 degrees because it's going 1 is 30, and then to 2 is 60. Because the sum of the two measures is 90 degrees, I get this from adding 60 plus 30. I can say that the angles are complementary. Example 4, finding measures of complements and supplements. Given that S is a complement of angle T and the measure of angle S is 32, find the measure of angle T. Well, I know it's a complement, which means that measure of angle T plus the measure of angle S is going to add up to 90 degrees. So to find the measure of angle T, I'm going to take 90 degrees and subtract the measure of angle S, which gives me 90 minus 32 degrees. Subtract that and I get that the measure of angle T is 58 degrees. B, given that angle U is a supplement of angle V and the measure of angle U is 27 degrees, find the measure of angle V. Supplement means that the two angles add up to 180 degrees. So I know the measure of angle U plus the measure of angle V is equal to 180 degrees. To find the measure of angle V, I am going to take 180 degrees and subtract the measure of angle U from it. I know that the measure of angle U is 27 degrees. 180 minus 27 is 153 degrees. All right, checkpoints problem number 3, 4, 5, and 6 are yours. In these problems, you are to state whether the two angles are complementary, supplementary, or neither. In problem number 5, angle M is a complement of angle N, and the measure of angle M is 63 degrees. Find the measure of angle N. In number 6, angle C is a supplement of angle D, and the measure of angle C is 109 degrees. Find the measure of angle D. All right, that's it from me. I'll see you all soon.